All right, let's go to the next question, which is question 4, coming in from Hope Kuhn. What do you think about near-death experiences? Oh, Hope, that's a very interesting question. And Hope's one of our mods, and they almost never send mod questions in. Okay, don't think she got favoritism here. They probably have more unanswered questions than anybody, just because of the nature of things. But Hope, I think that so let me tell you some of the lay of the land currently when in apologetics, in the area of apologetics, on at least as I understand it, because I haven't been reading tons on it. When it comes to near death experiences, so someone like, say, Gary Habermas or others who've worked really hard to demonstrate the resurrection of Christ, through evidence and historical research and historical Jesus studies and all that kind of stuff. And they've made incredibly strong cases for the resurrection of Christ, thoroughly researched. And I have several videos. I have a playlist of videos about the resurrection of Jesus on my YouTube channel you guys can check out, and evidence for it. But one of the biggest obstacles they enter into is people just generally believing there is no life after death, right? Like, for those who believe this, right? There's just thinking, no, there is no life after death. There's just, you die and nothing happens. We don't have any evidence of that. And so what they'll do is they'll use that one belief as a way of overruling, the arrows of the evidence pointing towards the resurrection of Christ. I think this is unwise, because I think that Jesus' resurrection is actually proving there is life after death. But these same people who have tended to focus on the resurrection have, some of them at least, shifted focus onto near-death experiences as a way of saying, hey, here's evidence that there's life after death, and it's evidence that is separate from our resurrection case, and that will then bolster that case and cause people to, take it seriously. So near-death experiences, let's ask, like, what do they look like? Well, like, Gary Habermas has gathered a large number of different accounts of near-death experiences, and he's more of the scholar type, so he's trying to categorize them and examine all the details and look if there's evidential proof, not just someone who may have hallucinated, or was their brain firing and it was just like they were near death, but they weren't, like, it was just a brain chemistry thing that was happening, or was it something that literally happened outside of the body, proving that the person has a soul, proving that there's like something else going on. So they'll like do things like, say there was numbers somewhere above the operating table, like on the top of the lights, and the person reports knowing those numbers because they saw them from up there. And I haven't vetted these things, so I haven't looked into it much more deeply than that. Here's my hopes and my fears on the topic. So when it comes to hopes, my hopes are that this would go to serve to wake people up to the fact that there is a reckoning before God when they die, that the humans have a soul. We're not just meat machines, right? We're not just biological machines purely made for reproduction. That's the materialistic view of humans, and that everything you do is, in fact, you aren't even you really. Your personhood is just an illusion, which is. This is where philosophy moves into the realm of just like trying to get you to deny the most obvious facts of reality, which is when philosophy is a waste of time. Although it's often, I love philosophy, don't get me wrong, but some people waste their time with it. So the hope is that it wakes people up to those things, okay? And that could actually be pretty effective. People are naturally interested in these types of things, near-death experiences. The challenge, I'll tell you my challenge, then my fears. The challenge is going to be in vetting these things, confirming the factual nature of these things, trying to make it as rigorous as you can as far as testing the claims about near-death experiences. And then the fear or the concern. I mean, it's not like I'm scared, but there's concern, or the area that I'm like going to watch out for, and maybe some have already done this work, is are these near-death experiences promoting a Christian worldview? Are they promoting other views? Because here in my Christian worldview, there's a lot that can go on in a person's, like, let's just say that Satan is smart. Let's just suppose for a minute that he's kind of smart. And he knows that if somebody's almost dying and he provides them with some sort of vision that there is no judgment, that everyone goes into a nirvana state after they die and there's no judgment. And that's the vision they get. And then they come back from their near-death experience. And then they go and they become an evangelist against the ultimate gospel of Christ. Like, What prevents that from happening? So if we gather these near-death experiences and we don't vet them carefully, like considering the worldview implications of what they're saying, we might be promoting individuals who've had different experiences as if they are now spiritual authorities on the afterlife. And I'm going to suggest this: the one beyond near-death experience that I would trust the most is that of Jesus Christ, who died, was really dead for a significant period of time, who came back, and who has showed us the way of salvation. And so if there's conflicting stories, I want to have a way of processing that. I'm concerned that some apologists are so eager to grab these near-death experiences because they just prove maybe a soul or an afterlife, but aren't vetting carefully that some of them are internally inconsistent, meaning that they cannot all be true as far as what people think they mean. It may be that you have a real soul, that proves you have a soul, but then the experience, the things you saw, the vision things, and your interpretation of them might not be reliable, right? And they may be conflicting with other experiences as well. So I want to vet all that and consider it and make sure that we're not misleading anybody. There's my 5 cents on that. 2 cents? Is it inflation, guys? It's 5 cents now.